Opinions and stories around the game we love, told by your favorite storytellers. Stay up to date with all things cricket. Subscribe to Cricbuzz's YouTube channel and press that bell icon now.
India were unable to shut the door on England, as their hopes in the World Cup are still alive based on a really good performance with the ball in hand. And an Indian legend just ticks off another milestone. If you missed any of the action, we're going to review it now here on Cricbuzz. England won the toss and they surprised a few people because they decided to bowl first. Heather Knight wanted to get her bowlers up front and put pressure on the Indian top order, and that's exactly what happened. Anya Shrubsole picked up Yastika Bhatia and Mithali Raj early. Smriti Mandana was the only one there that looked comfortable. Dipti Sharma ran herself out. There was panic stations in the Indian lineup. Harmanpreet Kaur as well went early, Sneh Rana, but finally a partnership between Richa Ghosh and Jhulan Goswami. Richa 33, Jhulan 20 was able to look like India could maybe get to that 150 mark, but they couldn't. Big performers for England, Charlie Dean. The fact that the little off spinner was able to cause a lot of havoc for India was great. Great flight. And then obviously Anya Shrubsole 2 for 20. In reply, well, there's a few nervous starts for England, wasn't there? Tammy Beaumont goes early. Danny Wyatt still unable to really cement her spot at that top order. And then there was a good, solid partnership. It was the leadership of Heather Knight and Nat Siva that were able just to keep everyone calm. Heather Knight 53 unbeaten, Nat Siva 45. Then a little bit of a panic as well. Meghna Singh picking up a couple of wickets in the 30th over, and England just faltering slightly, but they held their nerve. They held their nerve to ensure that they got their first points. They win by 4 wickets, and that means they're off the bottom of the table. From the Indian side is that runs at the top are just not consistent enough. Maybe the coaching staff will start to figure out, what do we do? Do we keep going with Yastika Bhatia? Do you bring in Shafali Verma for the next game? Mithali Raj hasn't settled at number 3. I still think that's the right position for her, or maybe she automatically swaps with Harman, or maybe that she drops down to 4, Harman at 3, Dipti at 5. They've been tinkering constantly, and from a batting perspective, it's always been an issue. Leading up to this World Cup, there was question marks. Can they actually score over 250 consistently? They showed that in the series against New Zealand, but now under pressure in a World Cup, if Smriti Mandana isn't scoring runs at the top, they look a brittle side. So they have to start to figure out, what do they need to do? Individually, they need to go, what do I need to do to get myself ready to play? Because there are some big clashes coming up. The best performer of the day and the player of the match has had to go to Charlie Dean. She bowled so well. One thing that I loved to see was the flight, and that she was able to get the ball up above the batter's eye line. But because she got great overspin, able to drop it as well. Natural variation, a couple of caught behind, smart keeping as well by Amy Jones ensured that they took out some big wickets. Harmanpreet Kaur was one of them. From an Indian perspective, I've got to go down to the old timer, Jhulan Goswami. Comes in when her team is in trouble with the bat and put some runs on the board. Hit a big 6 as well. A shame that she wasn't able to go on and score a few more runs, because I love seeing her out there playing. And then with the ball in hand, was able to pick up a wicket. And we've got to remember that wicket was her 250th ODI wicket. First player to do it, leading by a long way. Jhulan Goswami, an absolute legend. Impact player for England has to be Anya Shrubsole. The fact that Heather Knight won the toss and elected to bowl first, she needed her 2 stalwarts really to go hard. Catherine Brunt still question marks about her, but Anya Shrubsole 2 wickets, and that first wicket meant that she got 100 ODI wickets. So a good milestone for Anya Shrubsole. Slightly slower than Isha Guha, who still has the fastest out of the English fast bowlers. When you think of Anya Shrubsole, she is a thorn in the Indian side. You think of the last time she met India in a World Cup. Yeah, it was the final 2017, a 6 for, and now 2 for. So I think she likes the Indian players. For India, An impact player, Meghna Singh. I think that she bowled really well to take the ball, get the first wicket, which just lifts everyone, doesn't it? We do need to make a special mention to Heather Knight. No doubt, as a captain of England, defending champs, losing 3 games, a little bit out of form as well. You could tell that she was trying to rub it off. She really gritted out an innings, an unbeaten 53. Just shows the class of Heather Knight. And that is good signs for England. The day has to be England winning the game. You could see that a small weight was off their shoulders. You could see even in the field when DRSs were going, all of them were putting their hands together and praying and hoping that things would go their way. Luck was on their side. You only have to look at Nat Siver. Nat Siver, the last game against South Africa, got out kind of hitting the ball behind her and going to first slip. Whereas today, she got beaten by Julian Goswami. The ball rolls, hits the stumps, bails don't dislodge. Sometimes cricket is all about luck, but Nat Siver fought hard, and that winning moment, to see them smiling again. In a World Cup, you want England to be successful. You want them to be fighting for those positions, and it's going to make it very, very interesting now, the back end of the tournament. How things stand? Well, India remain in the top 4. They sit 3. But they've got some big games coming up. The next one is the in-form Australian side. Both of them moved to Auckland to play at Eden Park, a ground that both teams haven't played so far in the World Cup. Different dimensions, smaller ground. It'll be interesting to see what happens. Will India improve their batting? That is certainly an area that they need to improve. Otherwise, they're not going to challenge the best team in the world.